Hey guys, I need to turn off the TV. Where's the oh, I'll turn the volume down. What was I saying? Right. I almost forgot. I was gonna make eggs video last video today. We're done. We're good. Clip that because we decided not to finish our homework. But I then realized I said I was gonna tell you about my newest story, Huntress of the Shadows. And I'm gonna read it to you. It starts out where Elizabeth is dreaming, and it's like a I, me, my point of view, first person. It's like she's having a nightmare and stuff. Okay. One sec. Yeah. Okay. Finally, I remembered what happened. I couldn't remember. Okay. Okay. Huntress of the Shadows by Hannah Clark. It's moi. Okay. I was running through the woods, away from them. They get closer and closer. They let an arrow fly. I bolt up, breathing hard. I look around, still in my small, worn room. Glancing out my window, I realize it's not yet sunrise. That's good. I can still go hunting. Yeah. I push off my homemade quilt and slide my feet into my hunting boots. I stood up and walked over to my wardrobe. Opening the old doors, I grabbed my old cloak. I always wear it when I go hunting. It hid me in the shadows, so I could hunt better. I closed the door and walked outside. My wolf Rasha came running at me. She knew we were going hunting. I always take Rasha, no matter what. I found her when she was a puppy, roaming the forest, lost, hungry, and alone. I brought her back, and now she's full-grown and healthy. She had silver fur and green eyes, unlike me with my red hair and blue eyes. She walked next to me as I grabbed my bow and arrows from under a rock next to the cabin. I lived with my grandmother and Rasha. We lived on the outside of town. People didn't like us. They thought we were strange, unnatural, so we live out here. I walked into the tree line that is at the edge of our property, with Rasha at my side. We walked to a tree that had a large hole underneath, big enough for me and Rasha. We slipped in and watched for anything we could kill and eat. I got 10 rabbits, 4 birds, and 2 deer. I put the rabbits in a pouch and strapped the pouch to Rasha's back. I put the birds in a side pouch and put that on my belt. The deer I tied to a rope and dragged them behind me as I walked back to the cabin. As we walked through the trees, I saw smoke coming from the chimney of our little house. Grandmother was awake. I smiled. No doubt she was boiling water for a stew. She always knew when I got something. I walked to the barn and dropped the deer. I took the pouch off Rasha's back and took out the rabbits. I was going to save the birds for Grandmother. They were her favorite. I don't want to sicken anyone with skinning and cutting, so I shall leave that out. Once I was done, I set the meat on a slab of wood and started walking to the house, Rasha at my side. I walked inside and set the meat on the counter. Grandmother was in the den, putting some vegetables into a pot of boiling water. She looked up and smiled when she saw me. "Elizabeth, did you get anything?" she asked. I nodded and went to grab the meat, but there was someone at the door. Grandmother came in. "Chop that up, will you? Then set it in the stew. I shall get the door," she said. I nodded and walked into the den with the meat and a knife. I chopped the meat into small squares and tossed it into a pot. Right after I set the meat in, Grandmother came in with 2 knights of the castle behind her. "Elizabeth, these men would like to have a word with you," she said. Soon I had a bowl of stew, and I was sitting in my chair by the fire. The knights were in the chairs that used to be my mother and father's. My grandmother was sitting in the chair next to mine. She also had a bowl of stew. "Why on earth would you want Elizabeth for recruiting?" Grandmother said. "We hear that she is handy with a bow and not too bad with swords." "And where exactly did you hear that?" Grandmother said. They looked at each other. Then one said, "We cannot tell you." I looked up. "Why can't you tell me who knows about me?" I said. There was more power than I expected in that sentence. They stared at me, but Grandmother was watching them, waiting for a response. They didn't give one. I had finished my stew, so I stood up and walked into the kitchen. I cleaned my dish in the water bucket and set it back in the cabinet. Then I walked back into the den. The knight stood up. "We must be getting back. If you are going with us, we must leave now. Also, if you do come, we are willing to pay 10 crowns a week," one said. My eyes widened. 10 crowns? That's more than we've ever made. I looked at Grandmother. She was looking out the window. She did that when she was thinking. Then she sighed and looked at me. We had to. Then I sighed. "Give me a moment. I must get the rest of my weapons," I said. I walked into my room and grabbed my swords. I put them in thigh sheaths so my cloak would cover it. I walked outside. Rasha and Grandmother were waiting, along with the knights. "I'm bringing Rasha," I said. The knights looked confused, then looked down at her. She barked and trotted up next to me. "Okay, say your goodbyes. We must depart soon." They turned to their horses and waited for me. I turned around to Grandmother. She had tears in her eyes. "I will love you always," she said. I hugged her hard. "I will love you as well, always." We pulled away and Grandmother leaned down to Rasha. "You take good care of her," she said. Rasha barked, meaning yes. Grandmother smiled and got back up, hugging me one more time, and then I walked over to the knights. "Get on the back," one of the knights said. I climbed on the back of the horse, then Rasha ran next to us. Soon I could see the wagon that the other villagers were in. I got off the back of the horse, and Rasha came up next to me. "Last one, boys," the knight I was riding with said. One man in the back said, "Finally, this will better be worth it." Then he went back to talking with the others. They were all men and boys. I was the only girl. Perfect. I got up the steps and Rasha followed. I sat away from everyone, and Rasha was on the floor of the wagon next to me. I had the hood of my cloak up so no one could see the upper part of my face. The men would glance at me every now and then, until one finally spoke. "Why do you mask yourself?" he said. He had black hair and brown eyes. Sorry, I'm watching Family Guy. I didn't say anything. "Are you deaf? I spoke to you." His hand reached toward me. Rasha growled low. They all looked at her, and the man pulled his hand back. Rasha stopped growling but kept watching them. They eyed her for a while and then started talking again. It was like that the rest of the way to the castle. We got out, walking through large double doors in a large courtyard. The king, queen, and prince were standing on a large wooden platform in the middle of the courtyard. We made a line and kneeled down. "A fine-looking group," I heard the king say. Then the prince stepped in. "Why on earth is a dog in here?" he said. Rasha was sitting next to me, waiting for me to do something. "Guards, take it away," he said. The guards made a move to grab Rasha. She growled low. "Rasha," I whispered. Everyone looked at me. "Is this mutt yours?" Prince said. I nodded. "Pull back your hood. Show us the face of this dog." I stood up and pulled back my hood. His eyes narrowed. "Why is there a woman in here?" he said. Then my eyes narrowed. "Son, give her a chance. Her animal might be of use to us," the king said. Prince stared at me, looking angry. That's all I have. Hope you guys like it. I'm gonna hopefully finish it. And, it'll be awesome. This is still chapter 1. I'll keep working on it. I really hope you guys like it. I really like that story. I actually came up with it talking to my friend James. I don't know what his last name was. He's short, pale, blonde. He's in what grade is he in? He's one grade older, more than I am. So he's in 9th grade. I'm in 8th grade. And we do these things. We like make little imaginary stories and like we live them out when we're waiting for the bus on the bleachers of TJ when we live there. And like we were sitting there and like we didn't have anything to do, so we came up with our little role play things. And I like we just came up with that. There's gonna be a Sir James in the thing soon. He's gonna be totally awesome. Like totally freaking awesome. Like hugely wonderfully awesome. And in the next book, there's still gonna be a next book. And I already know this because I already have a plot for the next book. In the next book, they're gonna be like best friends. And actually, I'm gonna make him like an assassin sent to kill the king and queen, but little huntress over there. But in the role plays, I was the huntress, so little huntress is gonna stop him, not kill him, stop him. And then they're gonna be besties in the second book. Hopefully, there's a second book. There should be. There should be. That's about it. Hope you liked it. If you didn't really get it, lay back, close your eyes, and restart this video. Well, at least start it to where I started telling the story. And imagine it in your face. Oh god, I have the hiccups. I have the hiccups! So, buddy. I need to go to the kitchen. I'm gonna go. Pieces up. Oh, my announcement! I was gonna have an announcement. I never did the announcement. My friend Genesis from school, she might be coming over this weekend or next weekend, but she's going to be coming over. Hopefully. And we're gonna start a talk show for YouTube. What's it? What did we say it was gonna be called? Oh yeah, it's gonna be IDKWTPAGT. I don't know why these people are doing this. That's what it's supposed to be. It's really confusing, but I'll get the hang of it. Me and her are gonna have like papers like this. We're gonna be sitting there. We're gonna have these papers. It's gonna have our script on it, what to say. And hopefully Genesis is gonna have a pickle soup. Don't ask. It'll be there. If we don't have to do it, I'll tell you, and it'll be sad, and I'll probably cry. No, I won't cry. I don't cry anymore. I used to about everything. No, I don't. I'm gonna watch School of Rock now. No, I'm watching Family Guy. I'm gonna keep watching that. And just Facebook and keep working on the story. Mostly keep working on the story. I've got ideas in my head. I didn't know how to like continue it. Yesterday. It was yesterday. I restarted yesterday. Or like 2 days ago. 2 days. And like stuff like that. I'll update you tomorrow on the story. Hopefully. And then we'll have a scooty-doo awesome time. I'm gonna go Facebook, Facebook. Family Guy just came back from commercial, so I'm leaving now. Peace out, y'all. Subscribe, Facebook, and tweet me out on Twitter. I'm going to start getting a Tumblr. Hopefully, I don't know if I will or not, but my name will be Lizzie Beth Wells. It's still gonna be like that. Okay. Leaving. Peace. mustache,